Hey everyone, I am Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Her Podcast. We have an amazing podcast coming up right now at this very moment with Sandra Butler. She's a broker and she is a veteran in the real estate game. She has at least 18 years plus, and you guys will be able to learn a lot of information, especially how the market is fluctuating right now. It'll be very good for you guys to tune in and listen to everything she has to say. Hi, Sandra. How are you?
Hey, Beth, how are you? I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. Just having this conversation is very important, not only for myself, but for people that don't know a lot of things. I'm not gonna get too into pushing too far in the beginning,
Okay.
but I do want to know, how did you get into the real estate game?
Woo, this story. Okay, let me try to condense it. We only have a certain amount of time here, but long story short, I got into real estate because I purchased one of my very first homes, so my second home in life. I was a single parent and I moved to Georgia because the college opportunities were better here than where I was currently residing or previously residing. And so we moved to Georgia. I bought a house. I trusted the agent that I was working with. And come to find out, I became a victim of the whole mortgage bubble, like that whole era. My house
Wow.
was inflated. I paid $175,000 more than what the house was worth. Everybody got their cut. We all know what the story looks like, right? From '08.
Yes.
And I was a victim of that and didn't know it until I couldn't pay my mortgage month after month after month. And I didn't know what my options were. I didn't know, do I sell the house, which I couldn't, right? Because I owed way more than what the market value was telling me it was worth. Do I do a short sale? I was terrified of messing up my credit. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that can't be the only option. So I did the only thing I knew to do was to go to real estate school and try to figure it out. And that's how.
Man,
So
man.
yeah, and I did that, and I've been servicing my clients ever since, and that was 19 years ago. And I'm passionate about what I do because it's very important for me to educate my clients. Early on in my career, I focused on first-time home buyers because I was able to grab them fresh out the womb, so to speak, and just educate them on purchasing, things to look out for, the lessons that I had learned, right before becoming an agent. So yeah, that's the beginning of my journey. That's how it started.
Man, one of the things that I had saw about you is you have a consultation with your clients before actually them purchasing a home, and you actually educate them first. That was one of the things that I really like, because sometimes you can meet people that are real estate agents or even just in a real estate or wholesaling or anything, and they will just sell you something and they just go about their business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people are driven by the dollars, their coins,
Yeah.
right? The bag.
Yes.
If you're not in this business for the right reasons, then yes, you can absolutely run into those professionals who are just in it to make a quick buck. But for me, it's always been important to make sure that my clients understand every step of the process. And yes, it begins with a buyer's consultation or a listing consultation where we literally sit, one on one for about an hour, sometimes a little longer, and we discuss what this process is going to look like, some of the challenges that we might encounter along the way, some of the things that the buyer and or the seller should be prepared for. On the buy side, don't buy any cars, don't buy any new furniture for this house that we don't yet have, right? That kind of thing.
Right, right.
And then on the sales side, just making sure that they understand the market can fluctuate at any point in time. But I do market research, keep my finger on the pulse, make sure that I educate my sellers if there is a shift in the market so that they are aware when it comes time to making or doing negotiations on an offer, or even when we get to the closing table and that number looks different. See, if you educate them along the way and if you keep them in the loop along the way, there are no surprises at the end. So it's very important for me to make sure that my clients understand every single step that we are going through, the negotiation process, any troubles that we might encounter. Of course, I'm going to have a solution to follow right up with that, but you still
Right.
need to know, right? You still need to know what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
Mhm.
I know, like once you had started in the real estate, was it hard for you to actually just get out there and stand out and be able to purchase homes, just learn the game because everybody operate differently. So what was the steps for you to make it feel as though that you were comfortable out there in the field?
Woo, that took many years for me to get to that point. To be very transparent, it was not something that I just came out of real estate school, batting 100. It took some years, first and foremost, because I was like most agents, we wanted to work for 100% commission brokerage, right? I thought, let me go work
Right.
for a brokerage that's going to give me 100% commission or 100% of my commission. I pay a low monthly fee and this way I can keep the majority of my coins. Well, the problem with that was, and I did that for several years, the problem with that was I didn't know how to get business. I didn't know how to run a business. So I had no business. So no business,
Wow.
100% commission equals no coins.
No nothing.
So for a couple of years, I just couldn't figure out why am I not closing any deals? Why am I not getting any clients and that kind of thing? Because I didn't understand the fundamentals of running a real estate business, right? Even if you're not
Right.
a broker, as a real estate agent, you're an independent contractor, you are running a business, you're the CEO of your business. And so
Mhm.
it took for a couple of years. And then, of course, me and the drunk monkey in my head saying, well, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you should go back to corporate, that kind of thing. And not until I met my then mentor was I able to turn that ship around. But it took for me to make an investment. I had to join a broker
Wow.
that did have a split, that did cost a higher fee. But the things that I was getting, the education, the training, the mentorship that I was getting at that brokerage far outweighed any monthly fee or any splits that I had. And that was something I had to come to grips with because a lot, myself, like a lot of agents, when we hear a 70-30 split or 80-20 split, we're like, I need a
Yeah, I
hundred.
need all my money.
Right. But what's missing is the fundamentals, and what's missing is that training, education, mentorship, accountability to make sure that you reach those goals that you set for yourself in your business. And so I wasted a lot of years, chasing a dollar that didn't exist.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, that's a lot. So what was that first deal? You was like, oh yeah, I got this.
It's so funny because my very first transaction, I was actually my client. And I say that because uh,
Oh,
I was in this mindset of maybe the traditional real estate route wasn't for me. And so I looked
uh-huh,
into flipping because I've always had an interest in architecture, wanted to be an architect, just didn't want to go to school for it. So I was like, well, that's out the window. What else you got for me? Um, so, I decided to go into flipping. So my son and I, we partnered up. We decided to go into flipping, found our first flip. We did that, and then I sold it. And that check on both sides, as the investor
what?
and the realtor, was beautiful. I was like,
I
oh,
know you like yes.
let's do it again. But
I ain't done yet. I'm just getting started.
yes, and that to me, it was a light bulb moment because it opened my eyes up to what that little piece of paper, my license, could actually do, not just for my life, but for my kids' lives and their kids' lives. So that little piece of paper, for any agent that's listening or any aspiring agent who's going through pre-license, don't think that that license is only for you to help people buy and sell real estate. It opens the doors up to so many different avenues and so many different opportunities to create generational wealth. Make sure to keep an open mind once you get that license and go for it. Like it's powerful. It's a powerful piece of paper.
I mean, for sure.
Yeah. So to answer your question, that check was for those checks because it was two. It was two. Those checks were lovely, lovely. Yeah,
Wow. So you basically you educated your son as well for him to be able to create generational wealth for himself at a very young age as well.
absolutely. So he saw
Wow.
me and my day to day, not only studying to become a realtor, but then transition into a CEO of my own company, right? Because I was corporate all my life. I was corporate.
Whew.
Right? I didn't know any better. All I knew was that structure. I knew to get there at 8 o'clock. You had a 30-minute, maybe an hour lunch. You got to leave at a certain time. It was very structured. And so to go off on my own and now become my own boss, my own CEO, which sounds nice to people. They're like, oh, I get time freedom, I get financial freedom. Well,
Mm-mm.
you can't have both at the same time. So you either want financial freedom, but that means you got to put in the extra time, or vice versa. You got time freedom, but your bank account is low. You got to pick one, right? Initially,
Yes.
until you earn the right to leverage, and now you can have both. So, yes, real estate can absolutely give you both. And so it was important to me as my son was watching me create this new business, this new life, and become a different person. This took for me to get comfortable being uncomfortable because
Right, girl, that's what it takes.
listen, I'm used to my boss telling me I need this report, I need this done by this, I need this. Now I have to rely on myself, to know what needs to get done and meet deadlines and things of that sort and grow outside of my comfort zone, right? How to incorporate, what tax accountant I need, what kind of bank accounts I need. Like I had to teach myself these things. And, being very transparent, I didn't go to college. I was a teenage mom. I was a teenage mom.
Right.
So I had to not only figure out how to be a mother, I also had to figure out how to now be an entrepreneur. So we all go
Yes.
together. I have two kids. We like brothers
Learning together.
together.
Take it day by day.
Day by day. That's all I could do. But leading by example and then teaching my children the importance of home ownership. I knew that that would be a ticket for us. I knew that that would allow me to create generational wealth where they wouldn't have to go through the same struggles that I went through. They wouldn't have to be on WIC and social service. And, I was never on Section 8. So I felt like, I felt a little bit more bougie than it had I been on Section 8. Real. I'm like, well, I ain't never been on Section 8. Nothing wrong with Section 8. I'm just saying I skirted that, right? But I was on WIC. Listen, I couldn't
That's a
afford
blessing.
I couldn't afford that stuff. So I got what I could. Unfortunately, I didn't have a whole lot of support, but my kids never lacked. That was important to me. And I was going to do whatever it took. And if that means study real estate, figure this whole entrepreneurial thing out, that's what we're going to do. So here we are.
I don't know, that's right. So when was your big break when everything started to flow easy? Because a lot of times when you become an entrepreneur, a lot of people see the finishing of it. They see the marketing of it and everything, but they actually don't see the behind the scenes on how you sacrificed a lot and struggled a lot. But then when you catch that big break, it's like a huge congratulations, but you probably just lay down on the floor like, oh, by the time I've been through so much.
So
when was that moment for you and how many years did it take? Because sometimes it takes between 5 to 10 years.
it takes time. Success is not overnight. Although we'd like for our success to be microwavable, right? Just toss it in the microwave, 2 minutes later, we're rich.
Hmm.
I wish my mind
Girl.
set up like that. So, but for me, it took years because remember the first 3, 4 years, I was at 100% commission brokerage, so I was making no money. I ended up going back to corporate because, of course, I needed benefits. I need money, for kids, football and horseback riding, all that stuff they wanted to do. And so I went back to corporate for a few years, 6, 7 years, actually a little longer than that. But I did real estate part time. I said, well, let me ease
Right.
my way into it. Let me go to a brokerage that's going to allow me to learn and be molded. And so I did that. And it was 2016 when I finally pulled the trigger and went full time. And talk
Ooh,
about scary. I
I
mean, you
know it was.
safety net, no more paycheck, right? Whether I show up to work, whether I'm half asleep, whether I take an extra lunch, my paycheck will not change, right? Knowing that I had the weekends off. So to go to the opposite spectrum of that. Oh no, you gotta hunt what you eat, right? If you
Ooh,
don't show up,
yes.
eat, right? You don't get to take the weekends off. You haven't earned that yet. And so to go to that extreme was tough. But, for me, it was right around that 2016 when I got my mentor. I finally surrendered and got a mentor, and they helped me shape my business. They helped me lay the foundation. I had to break everything down. Like the house that I thought I built, my business, the foundation was rocky and I was using the wrong materials, right? And I had to tear it
Wow.
down and start over. And I had to lay a
Wow.
and so that was humbling in itself because sometimes you just gotta humble yourself and just break it all down and start from scratch, right?
Yeah, and it's okay.
And that's okay. It's okay. And you're not alone when you do that, right? You're not the only person that has to start over. And that wasn't the one and only time I've ever had to start over. Sometimes I feel like I'm starting over every morning. But you just start over. The blessing is that you have the opportunity to start over, that you are above ground with breath in your body and you get to hit that reset button. That's the blessing. So if you have that opportunity, if it's going to allow you to get to where you want to go, if you need to reset, do that. Don't hesitate because I did for years. So that will be the one thing I want people to really hear out of this. My message is that if you need to reset, reset. And let's go.
Mm.
Let's go.
Okay. Yeah, that's when it all gas, no break.
All gas, no brakes. Let's go.
I know that's right. I'm really proud of you because a lot of times when you work so hard, sometimes you don't pause and think about so much, and you just like, man, did I do that? I did
Mhm.
that. So
Yeah.
that's that pause and break, and it's just being my mother was a single mom, and I watched her work so hard, and just you being a single mom, and you became a mom at an early age, just the fact that you are just pressing forward and just making things happen and even helping your oldest son
Yeah.
become, generational wealth. That's a lot, just
Yeah.
for you to just do that path on your own as a mother.
And
So I applaud you.
now that we're talking about it, ooh, and I get emotional. So y'all, ooh, Lord, we're gonna cut in a minute because this
Oh,
ash is gonna start falling off.
oh,
But it's so funny, just hearing you say that because you're right. We don't stop long enough to see how far we've come. All we do is look ahead and see how far we still have to go. And
yes,
sometimes we just gotta stop and take a breath and be like, you know what? I have come a long way. And so to see my kids thriving, right? And to see them own properties, to see them self sufficient in their careers and doing what they love, not having a job that they have to have, that in itself is rewarding. So, and I tell myself all the time, and the reason I get emotional about this is because if don't nothing else go right, and yes, I know that's not grammatically correct. If don't nothing else go right, I'm gonna say it again. I know that those two, my one and two, that they were done right. I have two big green check marks when it comes to that department. And that's enough for me. So whatever
mm-hmm.
happens in this real estate game, whatever happens with, any other businesses that I tend to embark on, whatever happens, happens. Because in my mind, I did what I came here to do.
I know that's right.
So
You just did
all
that.
right, I
I,
did what I had to do.
I wish you would.
We're gonna show you.
So did you ever think that you would take real estate so far and become a broker?
No, no, and no. Uh, let's get into that. Um,
Yes.
So after having been in the business as a solo agent, because the first several years was just trying to backpedal, figure it out, build my foundation. But once I got in the groove of things, once I was in cruise control, it was over and I was happy. I started
I
to understand
bet.
my schedule and how to manage myself as an employee because I'm my employee, right? Every day I'm asking myself, did you earn this same spot for tomorrow? Did you do what you were supposed to do? Or should you be fired today? You have to ask yourself that as a CEO, right?
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and that's a tough question to ask yourself. Did I do what I was supposed to do on my job today? Right? Do I get to come back tomorrow? But I had become so complacent being in my own lane, being my own person, not on a team, because I like people, but I don't like people.
I truly understand.
You know what I mean? So it's like I like you when I want to like you.
Yes,
And
I feel
my
you.
own, it's like I just want to be in my own space. So a team was never the right fit for me, but they're great, right? And I've even organized a team now for my agents, but that just wasn't for me. But at the time, after having been an agent for 16 years or so, and
Mhm.
being a productivity coach, I was coaching other new agents, right? Because they were starting to come to me and ask me, well, how did you do this? Or how did you get 7% on your listing when the average is 6%? Or how did you, all this stuff. And so I was already educating them and sharing my stuff. And then I became a productivity coach. And that became very
Wow.
rewarding and fulfilling to me. I was like, oh, this is a different lane of real estate that I didn't know existed that I love because it brings me a certain sense of satisfaction when I see that I've just given you a nugget or a gem and you applied it and it worked. When that agent comes back to me and says, Miss Sandra, I just went on a listing appointment and I got 7%. Of course you did, because I told you you was going to get it. Period.
Yes.
Right? So that was fulfilling to me. So I took that, I created a coaching program. And then at that point, my mind just started expanding more and more and more. And I said, why not create your own environment where you can invite agents in, teach them what you've learned over this decade and a half, and create it the way you want to create it, mold it the way you want to mold it, run it the way you want to run it. And for the 16, 17 years, I never wanted to open a brokerage because in my mind it's like, I don't want the responsibility, the overhead. I'm not babysitting nobody. I don't want it. I just want to deal with
Mm.
it. I just like me, right? But
Wow.
when I realized that it was time for me to step in that role, it's so funny because it was on the heels of COVID. And this was a time when all of us were isolated. And for me to have been single, my kids were adults at the time. They had moved out either college or in their own place. So it was just me in these four walls and COVID. And I had to face me. I had to have conversations with me. I had to get to know me. I got a stronger relationship with my higher power because I had
Right.
just us. And at that point, I realized that I had more to give than what I was giving. I was really just on cruise control. Like I said, I wasn't truly utilizing the gifts that I had. And so
Wow.
that was displeasing to my God, right? I'm like, no, you weren't given these gifts to sit on them, to gatekeep, as they say nowadays, right? So I decided to take my coaching program and incorporate it into my own brokerage where I get to run it the way I want to run it. And we're now 2 years in, 2 years strong. It wasn't easy at first. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say no.
I bet it wasn't.
And it was just la 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 la. I went on Instagram, got all these followers. No, it was none of that. It was hard. It was hard because once again, I was stepping foot into a role that I had never been in. Mind you,
Right.
college education, barely made it through high school. I was a teenage mom. I wasn't worried about no homework. Worried about I need to go pick up these food stamps. I got to go get some groceries. Got kids to pick up. So my mindset was different at the time. And now
Right.
to educate myself as an adult to say, okay, this is new and it's frightening, but you can do it. And so becoming a broker was probably one of the second most rewarding milestones in my life, in my career, because now I'm able to give back to agents and truly educate them because education is everything for me. My whole brokerage,
Yes.
the premise of my brokerage is all about training, education, and mentorship. That's it. So if you don't want the accountability, if you don't, and I have military background, so it's like if you don't want the accountability,
Mm.
if you don't want that drill sergeant on you, like you ain't show up for these classes, where you at, then this is not going to be the brokerage for you, right? But if you do want that, if you're serious about your business and you want to learn and you want to grow, then this is the place for you, right? So
Ooh,
here we are, 2 years.
ooh. Man, so how do education, transparency, and honesty play a role into your mentorship approach?
I think that when I was a productivity coach, right, at my former brokerage, the one thing that disturbed me so deeply was the coaches and the mentors not being authentic about what it really is out in these real
That
estate.
is true. That is so
It is
true.
one thing for you to get through pre-license because they're literally just teaching you what you need to know to pass that state test. Once you get out in here in the real world, and I tell all of my pre-licensed students, Once you pass that test, release everything that you just learned, because you're going to learn a whole new set of rules once you come out into the real world, right? So the dishonest, I'm not going to call it dishonesty, but not being transparent with agents and letting them know what they're about to encounter, what they're going to come up against, the challenges, the frustrations, the long nights, some deals not going through. Like, these are real life scenarios. This is real life stuff. So when I was fed, you can absolutely sell 100 homes in your first year. You can absolutely, be top producer, and you can, but what does it take to get there? Let's talk about that.
Right.
So when my
Yeah.
agents come to me and we're creating their business plan, you can dream as big as you want, and that's the beautiful thing about this business and this profession, this career. You can dream as big or as small as you want. There's no ceiling. There's no ceiling. Now, what kind of work are you willing to put into it? That's always the question. Yes, you can make
That
$1 million
is.
a year. You can make $250,000 a year. Whatever it is that you need, that's satisfactory to you. But what level of work and dedication are you going to put into it? Because I'm going to keep it real with you and let you know what it's going to require for you to get there. We can do it. Are you ready to be up long hours? Are you ready to give up your weekends, your weekend brunches with the girls, at the hookah lounge? Are you ready to give all that up so that you can fulfill your dream? If you are, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Sound like a boot camp.
But it's only when asked. You come,
Yes.
you already know what it is, right? But then,
But it's that accountability, like, and to have someone mentoring you like you,
Mhm.
it it creates motivation. Like, just, I'm not into real estate or nothing, but you just motivated me just saying that. And and I don't even get off into it, but it's just the fact of how you come, your approach, I could tell you have a lot of passion into it, and you're not gonna waste nobody's time, and you definitely not about to waste yours.
Exactly.
So that's the importance of it, and it's very rare to come across brokers and real estate agents and such of what that you do today, because a lot of people, they promote a lot of things saying they sold this and I can help you get this for this much, and different things like that. For you to have such a strong, authentic approach is very, I appreciate it, because it's very, very rare nowadays. And you have people scamming you left and right when it comes to it, just for them to get a commission.
Yes. And I appreciate you saying that. And that means a lot, because you hit the nail on the head. There's so many, and I get to see it from a different perspective, from a broker's perspective. There's
Right.
so many classes, courses, join my membership, join my VIP this, VIP that, sign up for this boot camp and I'll teach you how to flip a home, whatever. And then I have people coming to me crying because they spent this money, whether it's their last or it was the little bit of money they had in their savings, or they pulled from their 401 because they're desperate. They're desperate for a change. They're desperate for, a shift in their finances. But yet they're putting themselves oftentimes in an even deeper hole, because now you've invested in this product, and the product gives you the basics, right? It doesn't go into the depths of what it takes to flip a home, educating people on the different types of financing, or the time frame that it's going to take to flip, or if you're in a historic area, how you have to get special permits, or how to find and vet your vendors and your contractors. And those are the things we don't talk about. And then the investor gets in trouble because they're just hiring somebody from Craigslist or from, the Home Depot parking lot, whatever. And now there's a liability, or the work wasn't done properly, so you can't sell it for top dollar, or the home's been on the market too long, so now you got to reduce the price. You're still not going to get that dollar that you thought you were going to get. There's so many different moving parts to it, that if I'm going to put out a product and ask people to invest in that product, first and foremost, I like for my people to test drive my car. Listen,
Girl,
I offer
yes.
free classes right now. I offer free classes to any agent. Doesn't matter if you're with my brokerage or not with my brokerage. If you follow me on social media, all you have to do is click my link and you will get the Zoom link to get into my classes. I do not charge for them. I'm a big believer in education. I'm a big believer in, if you're with my brokerage and you're already paying a split, you should be educated. I shouldn't be charging you $179 to teach you how to write a contract. That's
Right.
part of the deal. That's part of you being with the brokerage. And so I really want to see all agents win, whether you're with me or not. So if I can educate you, if I can give you a nugget on how to lead gen or how to reverse prospect or hold an effective open house through an hour of my time on Zoom, all you got to do is click the link in my bio. It's that simple. There's no charge, there's no hidden fees, it's none of that. Doesn't matter if you never join my team, if you join it does not matter. You are welcome to join these classes. And so that's me allowing people to test drive me, right? Yes, of course, we're
Right.
working on different things and we have different products that we're working on, but I can't expect people to invest in that when they don't even know how to car drive. You don't know if it's automatic.
Yep.
You don't know nothing. Sunroof
It's like
working,
you going in blind.
going in blind. So it's important for me to know that you know what you're going to get when you get me, right? I'm very transparent. I'm very authentic. I'm very raw at times. So I'm going to give you my experience. I'm going to give you my true experience. I'm going to give you my true opinion. Now there are going to be other brokers that agree, some will disagree. Doesn't matter. That's not on me. All that I'm focused on is making sure that I stay true and authentic to myself and that I continue to share the knowledge that I have and that I've learned over these last 2 decades. That's my only focus.
I know that's right. So your unique and authentic approach to your clients sets you apart from a lot of people. Can you explain how you prioritize your clients to ensure that they have the exceptional experience with you?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I just always show up as my authentic self. I attract people who want to work with someone who is going to keep it real with them, right? So if we're looking at a home and you ask me my opinion, I'm going to give you my authentic and raw opinion, especially once I've learned in my 1 hour consultation that we talked about at the beginning of this. Once I learn
Right.
what the point is and what your angle is for purchasing or getting into real estate or getting into flipping or selling your home, once I understand the why behind that, I can better guide you. That's my job, is to guide you. You ask me, what do you think about this? Well, if it's not in the right neighborhood, I'm going to say that. Or if it is in the right neighborhood, but you can't yet see it, I'm going to say that too. Like, you have to
Mhm.
trust me, right? So I'm here to guide them and educate them along the way. But for me, it's important with my clients to, one, build that rapport and trust in that consultation, so that when we go out in these streets and we're looking at homes and we're negotiating our homes, you're going to trust my lead because I've already shown and displayed my value, right?
Right.
And that's when things get easy. That's when your clients are just like, whatever you say, Sandra. That's lovely, right? But you got
It
to earn
sure
that
is.
in me. You got to set down the rules, the expectations. Here's what you can expect of me as your professional, and let people know what you're going to do for them. And don't tell, like a seller, I tell my agents all the time, don't bring our 14-step marketing plan to your seller's listing presentation if you're not going to do all 14 steps. Don't do it.
Ooh,
Don't do it.
ooh.
Don't tell your client you're going to do something just so you can win that client, because we're in this for the
Right.
long haul. We want longevity. We want relationships. Every single one of my clients, maybe one or two, let me not lie, but the majority, let's just say 98% of my,
Okay.
they are now friends. They're not even clients anymore. Like, I'm at their weddings, their birthdays, at the hospital when they getting ready to have a baby, the baby's first
Aw.
birthday. I'm there and I show up because I've now earned this spot in their life, right? I've changed their lives through home ownership. And so this is bigger than just that one deal and that one commission. This is about fostering a relationship because they become repeat clients and they're friends. They're like, you're thinking about buying a house? You got to talk to Sandra. You got to talk. I've had clients tell me this. Oh, yeah, I told my coworker, I know she has an agent, but she needs to talk to you because the way you handled our transaction, like, that's what you want people out here
Yeah, you do.
for you. But you got to show up in excellence. I require that of my agents. You don't show up in excellence, this ain't going to work because you represent me. You represent my brand. And you should want that for you and your own brand. Forget me. You should
That's
show
true.
up in excellence for your client, right? Because you would want that same treatment. So it's important to me to make sure that I treat every client, whether it's mine or one of my agent's clients, with white glove service at all points in time, before, during, and after the closing.
I know
So
that's right.
yes.
So, so I know that you specialize in guiding first time home buyers. How do you give them hope and provide the key as far as them buying on edge? Because I'm a first time home buyer myself. I ain't purchased a home yet.
Listen,
And I've
listen,
been on the edge.
why are you okay? Let me ask you, why are you on the edge though? Talk to me.
Ah, me, for my first home, I want to stay in that home. I want that home to be my forever home. I
Okay.
don't like I don't like bills.
Okay.
So my goal when I buy that home is something that I love. I can see myself living in and I can see myself paying it off.
Now,
So
so I want to challenge your thinking, and I know I feel
I
like I'm
know.
flipping the script, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to ask this
It's
quick question.
okay. It's okay. It's okay.
So you said two different things. I heard two different things just that fast. One, that I want my forever home, and two, I don't like bills. Okay.
Yes.
Your forever home, that means that you are willing to plant seeds or plant roots in one place for the rest of your life. You are committing to this one place for the rest of your life.
Yes.
How, how can you predict what your life is going to remain the same for the next 30 years?
I can't. But that's just my mindset for this moment.
And that's
but I
okay.
know but I know me. I'm sure it will eventually change.
Yeah.
I do I have I have invested with like family members into homes and things like that. I have done that plenty of times, but I haven't done nothing on my own,
Okay.
like by myself, just to invest in homes by myself.
Okay.
But
Good, good.
I plan on doing that, but I just haven't gotten myself to that point where this is exactly what I want to do. I'm going to purchase this home and do that because I like new and different things, different scenery. So I believe I probably wouldn't be in the house that long, but I probably will rent it out or something.
So now it's starting to change a little bit, right?
Yeah, so I changed my mind in that area a lot, but I still I like to still keep it as
Mhm.
mine's, but I don't want to probably live in it.
Yep. And so, and what I'm hearing, and I'm hearing a shift. I'm hearing a shift in your thinking process. And so, what I'm hearing is that no, you're not. A lot of young people, a lot of millennials are always saying, "I'm not ready for home ownership because I don't want to be tied to a house. I don't want to be stuck in this one area because I know life is going to take me in different directions." And so, I don't foresee you buying a house and being in it until your grandchildren are born. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because this
Mhm.
podcast is going to blow up. You're going to be overseas. Like, you're not going to be stuck in this one house. It's not
No,
happening. So
no.
when I challenge your mindset, I want you to think of, and you mentioned, and I'm getting to the second part of what you said, where you don't like bills. I want you to think of your property, especially your first property, as an investment. This is a stepping stone to where I really want to be. This is just a stepping.
Right.
Now, it doesn't have to be god awful ugly. That's not what I'm saying. However, it doesn't have to be perfect either. Our goal is to make sure that this property essentially pays for the next property that we're getting. And it's going to
That's
be a
true.
snowball effect. And over time, you're going to have a multitude of properties that you're not paying for. So that
That's
takes away
true.
that whole I don't want bills. There you go.
That's true.
Right. This
That
gives you the
that's
freedom.
very true.
Now you've got properties in Atlanta, you've got properties in Miami and LA and New York. You can spend half the year in Miami, half the year in you got a property everywhere.
Yeah. Cause
Change your
I think I've created that because my mom passed away 3 years ago.
sorry.
So when she passed away, she left me and my brother a house and we're
Hmm.
next door neighbors.
Hmm.
She paid off the house that I'm living in.
Okay.
However, she ended up pulling out a mortgage
Mhm.
of my home and paid down her home. So by the time she passed away, my brother's mortgage about paid off.
Right.
He didn't have much left, and then I have a whole mortgage left when I'm actually paying on and it's almost paid for. But of me having that, and it's like I've learned a lot
Mhm.
since her passing. when it comes to things like that. I've even learned of having a particular life insurance for it to be able to pay your home off when you pass away. I've learned a lot of things as far as having life insurance, a whole life insurance when you hit those chronic illnesses, or having your own bank. I've learned a lot since then. So my mindset has transitioned to a point of more or less building wealth, but yet making sure I have something covering the wealth that I'm creating. So that's where I come in, where I don't want bills because of how my mom worked so hard for 30 plus years, and she never got to enjoy her retirement. She was only retired for a year. And then when you retire for a year, everything is left to us. But
Right.
it's like you still didn't get to enjoy life. So I didn't want to create bills and still have something and struggle. I wanted to create something, so something to be residual income so it could keep coming. And then if I was to get to that point, if I was to have children or my nieces or nephews, they will have something.
Mhm.
So I know real estate is a form of wealth. I just haven't had the proper guidance on exactly creating that wealth in a smart way.
Correct.
A lot of people do it,
Mhm.
but I've seen them struggle and scraping on how they gonna do something next because they're stuck with something. I don't want to do that. I don't
Right.
want to be stuck. I want to be smart.
Absolutely. And that just, it really just takes for you to team up with the right people, right? To educate you and
Yeah.
guide you, because everything you said, I hear it, and I was you. I wanted to make sure my kids didn't have the same struggles and the same burdens that I had, right? Even now
Mhm.
as an adult, looking back at the previous generation, our moms, we know that they didn't know half the stuff we now know. They didn't have the resources
Yes.
we have. They didn't have knowledge about credit and life insurance and how we can manipulate those policies to do this, and they didn't know this stuff, so we're being self-taught, right? But
Yes.
we still carry the residual of their lack of knowledge, meaning when
Yes.
they pass, we got to take on that responsibility, because they didn't know how to invest in multiple properties to have one pay off the other and the other, leaving for your children free and clear deeds. We know that.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
just about the education on, I used to tell my kids all the time, your house is your piggy bank. Yes, there's banks you can put your money in, but your house is your bank. Like, you can access that money at any point in time. That's your bank, it's your money. So instead of putting your money into a savings account, put your money into real estate. It's going to grow faster. You've got more
Mhm.
control over it, right? You can manipulate it. You can take it out and get you another house. It's like playing Monopoly. We used to play Monopoly
Yes.
all the time. It's like playing Monopoly.
Yes.
So you buy that first, you just change your mindset. You buy that first property with the end goal in mind, right? I want to leave a legacy. I want to make sure that future generations don't deal with the remnants that I'm dealing with now after the passing of my mom, right? I want to make sure they
Mhm.
don't have to worry about this. So yes, the property that you get is your first time home buyer, because they're great first time home buyer programs. Get an investment property, whether it's a duplex or a triplex or a quadruplex, single family, doesn't matter. If it's more than one door, that's Gucci, because you get to rent
Mhm.
three out, stay in one, or rent one out, stay in the other. But if it is single family, then you just take that property. You've got to live in it for a certain amount of time based off of the criteria of the loan. But you take that property, and then when it's time, you move on. You put a renter in there, or you Airbnb it, depending on what area we're in, what demographic we're in, all of that. And your agent should be educating you on all this stuff. This is the area we're in,
Yes.
this type of residual income, right? You take that property, and obviously by the time you're ready to rent it, you've gained equity in it. We can take that equity,
Mhm.
get that money, so I can go get another property, and then another and
Yes.
another, snowball effect. And before you know it, all
Yes.
these properties are paying for your lifestyle. So, and not to get too deep into it, my son's 31. He's got three properties, and that's what pays his rent, his mortgage. The one property paid the second mortgage, and the one and two is now paying the third mortgage. It's just a snowball effect.
So ball. Yeah.
And that's how you create that generational wealth, because those homes that these tenants are living in and paying off, they're paying your debt off. So once that debt is paid off, you now have a free and clear home. Let's just say you're sitting on $250,000 now, just sitting there, waiting for you to invest in that thing.
You right about that.
It's
One thing that I did do though, is property sitting behind me.
mm-hmm,
And it's an empty lot.
mm-hmm.
So I did contact the land bank and I did purchase it.
Nice. Okay.
I'm waiting on the process of that. So I did do that.
Okay.
That's something I felt so accomplished
Good.
about.
That's good. That's like adulting.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, let me just try this out.
Good.
But I have so many ideas on what I want to do as far as when I do get into things like that. I like to always go the opposite direction of what's trendy or what everyone is doing. I'm big on community and I'm big on taking care of my elders.
Mhm.
So it's always something of a special space for me to be able to provide something for them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's going to be you that changes the trajectory of future generations in your family. That is your
Yeah.
assignment. That is your,
Yes.
and you got
Yeah.
this. You got this. You're on the right track. Right now, it's just a matter of, it almost sounds like you just need confirmation from someone because you're
Yeah.
already thinking it. You're,
I just need Sandra.
I got it. Listen, the partnerships that I've got going, I've got agents in every state in the US. So anywhere you want to buy, I got you. You want to buy overseas? We got some partnerships in different countries. Listen, I got you. Open up an Airbnb
Yes.
over there. Open up a little hotel, a little hospital. I got you. What you want to do?
I want to do it all.
I got you. Listen, next time we talk on this podcast, it's gonna be a whole different topic.
Yep, it is.
You,
Yes.
I love, I love.
So what do you do on your downtime? Like what is your me time after you working so much?
It's funny because for so many years I didn't even know how to answer that question. I'm
I
like,
bet.
uh, I work and then I work and I work some more. I'm learning how to balance that, right? It's very tough as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, to balance that because oftentimes we feel guilty when we do something pleasurable or we do something
Yes.
outside of work. Now it's like, oh, I should be doing this, or maybe I should take a moment to do emails. We always feel like there's something to do, so we feel guilty. But
Yeah.
I've had to learn, and this is like just, it's like working out a muscle. It's no different. I had to learn by small actionable items on a daily basis that I have to take time for me. And when and
Wow.
that can be 5 minutes, it can be the whole day. Just depends on how I feel. But currently, I now just reserve my Sundays for myself. And it's called
Okay.
Self-Care Sunday. And every now and then I'll post it on social media and it's something new. And I always do something different, right? I always try something different, whether it's try a new vegan breakfast shop or whether it's go hiking or to a waterfall or whatever. But the one
That's
consistent
good.
thing that I do every Sunday is I buy myself flowers every Sunday.
You know what's so crazy? I do the same thing.
Right?
Yes, I go to Sam's Club because they be having the most beautiful flowers.
Yes,
I go there and I buy myself flowers.
yes. And it's
I really
so,
do.
it feels so warm and lovely because, we go out, especially if it's a nice, even if it's not a nice day. Some days when it's raining, I enjoy that too because I go to the market or I go to Whole Foods, wherever, right? Wherever I want to pick up my bouquet from. And I'm taking my time because my calendar is clear for that day. So I have no calls I'm expecting. I have no appointments I need to get to. That time is just reserved for me. I'm spending
Yes.
time with Sandra. Today is your day. And we do whatever our heart desires, whether it's go to the movies for a matinee, whether it's go to the movies late at night, whether it's take yourself to brunch. But I get my flowers every Sunday. And
Yes.
I'm excited when I pick them out and when I go home and how I so lovingly clip the edges and the leaves off and place them in the vase. Like I take my time with it because that's my uninterrupted time with myself. I don't rush it. I don't just take it out of a little paper and put it in the vase and put it on. No, I take my time, right? And then I
Yes.
beautiful creation. And that every day that I look at it during the week when things are hectic, it reminds me of my time with myself. I know I have time to look forward to myself next Sunday. It's like you can get through this week. It's okay. Sunday's right around the corner. And then it's just me and you again. So it's a daily reminder. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's how I kind of unwind. I just Sundays I just veg out and do what it is that my heart desires. So there's no set schedule. There ain't no telling what I might do. I might be top of Stone Mountain or skydiving. I don't know.
Hey, just as long as you enjoying life, because you could work so hard,
Yeah.
but you forget about celebrating yourself,
Yes.
pampering yourself, and different things like that. It creates you to rejuvenate a lot.
Yeah. And we do. We work, not only do we work hard, but we've got our blinders on constantly. We're
Yes,
in go mode all the time. We never take our foot off the gas. We never plug ourselves up to the charger. And I always, compare myself to my phone. If I were to lose my charger, how long would this phone last? How long would it be good for me? And it's the
that's
same with my
true.
body. If I don't plug myself up to recharge, to do something and let my mind take a break from, you know, work and clients and their issues, their challenges, the things that I have to problem solve for them. If I don't take that time, I'm going to crash. And I see agents do it all the time,
Yep,
especially if they have families. If you've got kids, you got to learn how to balance all that, right?
you
And
do.
there's perfect balancing. No one gets it right, but you got to make an effort to make sure that you are taking care of you before you can take care of anybody else, kids, husband, clients, doesn't matter. You got to be able to say no.
That
My
is
no is
true.
my Sunday.
I bet.
No.
So how can people get in contact with you?
So I am Caterpillar Properties, as the shirt says, right? My little shirt. But yes, I'm Caterpillar Properties. If you guys want to reach out to me on Instagram, TikTok, my website, my email, everything is Caterpillar Properties. My email address is Sandra at caterpillarproperties.com. Website is caterpillarproperties.com. Just remember Caterpillar Properties and you'll be able to find
Yes, I know
me.
that's right. Well, thank you, Sandra, so much. I really enjoyed this. You were like very informative, very real. I really appreciate you, and I wish you nothing but the best.
You're so sweet. I appreciate you so much for having me on. This means the world to me. I'm excited to be able to speak to your viewers and just share with them my passion. And again, if your viewers, anybody ever has any questions about anything real estate related, please feel free to reach out to me. A walking, I'm a walking research bank, right? Anything you need to know
Yes,
about, I got you. I got you. This has been such a pleasure. You are a joy. Love your energy, and I look forward to coming back and doing a part two. The
yes, we definitely can.
last part two.
Okay.